Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamila Dora. Thank you for clicking to watch this video. If you are new, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, hi. So today's video is going to be something that I've been meaning to do. I've been coming to Nigeria recently, back to back every year, and things have really rapidly changed between last year, this year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it is just so weird that inflation has gotten so bad in Nigeria. Yes, I know when I was in the US, like I noticed all these changes even over there. The cost of things shrink inflation, where things are smaller for high prices or the same price as but you're paying the same price, but things have become smaller. So in this video I'm going to be sharing what it looks like here in Nigeria if you are visiting or you're thinking of bringing your family back to Nigeria to settle back in to your familiar, and all that. So if this is something that interests you as someone living abroad and you are not sure if the news is true or not, stay tuned to the end of this video, subscribe, and let's get right into it. My family and I, we love to come to Nigeria every summer if finances permit, because everything is dependent on the finances, and we stay in Abuja. So the first thing you have to consider, if you're traveling to Nigeria, you want to know where you're going to or where you're coming to. Like, are you coming to stay for a long stay or are you coming for a short stay? So one decision that the mister and I made early on, was to get our own property here in Nigeria, and we started the project sometime in 2017. An opportunity presented itself and we jumped on it. In the climes of things today, you cannot use the money we used to obtain this property 7 years ago, exactly 7 years ago, we got this property, and we got it at a carcass level and we finished building it. But coming to Nigeria now with inflation and all that, you cannot use that same money to buy a property. But you also have to weigh the options, right? Property is something that the value increases with time. So you want to think about what you want to do in terms of, are you coming to Nigeria permanently or are you just visiting? So if you're visiting and and it's not like a regular visit that you would do, like it's not something that you do regularly, like you won't be coming home as frequently as we come to Nigeria, then there is probably no point for you to start buying property this time. But I would advise that if you ever have the intention of owning a property in Nigeria, start doing it now. Property prices all over the world, most especially in Nigeria and even in the US, is not going down anymore. I don't think there's going to be any kind of crashing in the economy that will make building costs or this thing, because it has been peaked to, inflation has made it go up to an extent and value have increased, and people are investing so much in property and they are making their monies back. The one way you can easily go about it is to look for a land that no kind of development has happened there, then you buy it down. That is the best advice I can give. Like, if you ever think of relocating to Nigeria, this is the best time, because it's going to get more expensive. Development is increasing day by day. Road networks are being created day in, day out. Anywhere you go in Nigeria, you will see construction going on. So the more construction and infrastructures that is being put in place, that influences the prices of land automatically. The easiest alternative is either, if you have family, then you can stay with family for the duration of stay, if they can accommodate you for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. But Islamically as well, you cannot go to somebody's house and go overstay. You're welcome. It is not really advisable, except you people have that kind of relationship. There is a time to come and a time to leave, and if you don't want that kind of embarrassment, when you're in somebody's house, it can never be your house, even if it's your sibling's house, right? Because I would assume they are married, they have their own private needs, privacy and all that. So as you're coming, you should also think about when you're leaving. The third option is for you to get an Airbnb. My brother-in-law's wife and his family visited Nigeria recently, and they came to Abuja. And the one thing I discovered was that they stayed in an Airbnb, and it was really, really nice. It's accommodated them, herself, her kids, her family that came to visit. It was in a choice area, Guzape, and they stayed there. So you can also invest in Airbnbs if you know that, again, you're coming for a short visit, you're not staying long. The next thing that has really changed for me is the cost of things, and that is one thing you probably all have been seeing so much of online. And it is not only in Nigeria that things are expensive. Everywhere all over the world, things are really expensive. Before we came over, I was always complaining to the mister that things are just too expensive in the States. Like, every month you go, things are looking smaller and you are paying so much. Or you go for grocery shopping and you pay so much, and whatever you've come home with is nothing to write home about. It's the same feeling right here. 10,000, 100,000 naira is the new 10,000 naira in Nigeria. So 100,000 naira in today's, as at today's value, let's just do quick math. 100,000 naira is $62 or $63 as at today. So $63 in the US will probably get me this thing. But here in Nigeria, if I carry 100,000 naira to the market, I don't really know what I'm getting with it. You have to either go to the village markets, the inner markets, for you to be able to get value for the things that you want to buy in terms of grocery. Since when I came to Nigeria, I have been going to the market, or I have had the need to go do grocery shopping twice a month, not even up to 2 weeks, maybe every 10 days. The cheapest I have seen since when I came to Nigeria was the recent grocery shopping that we had to do. Basket of tomato as at yesterday is 36,000 naira at Orange Market. Basket of tomato during Eid period was 60 something, 70 something thousand. So the price has slashed to half. Nothing has really changed anymore, but people, it's still that season where the price of tomato is known to be expensive. Perishable goods are known to be more pricier at this period. But because of the way people run with things and the way the media is playing a big role in misinformation of things, even market people are beginning to take advantage of that. Yes, the cost of transportation and all that, which I will get to, counts into it, but we also know that as someone that lives in the north, these things shouldn't be as expensive as they are in the north. If we move produce from the northern part of Nigeria to the southern part of Nigeria, because we produce more, so there is now that, will I call it equilibrium, there's now that balance in the market, that there is that unification of prices anywhere you go. Whether you're in the south, whether you're in the north, you are feeling the hardship together. We are all feeling it together. So the prices of goods are really, really expensive, most especially perishable goods. One thing that I did when I was coming was to shop for things that I know that are imported goods, like cereal. The only thing I didn't bring was milk and Milo, whatever it is that you call it. But I came with cereal, I came with fish, I came like tinned fish, I came with pancake flour, you people saw the travel list, I came with all these things. Our toiletries, I bought them in bulk or in multiples, because it was still going to be cheaper for me over there to buy than to come to Nigeria to buy. Now you buy pad for what, 1,500 naira. So I knew that things were going to be so hard. Like, it's a case of choosing the lesser evil of things, and I chose to bring some of those things that I know that it is imported, the currency is going to have effect on their prices, and it was better for me to just bring them. So since all the things that I brought cornflakes and all that, we are still using it. I've not had the need to buy cereal since when we came here. I've not had the need to buy toiletries for myself or the kids. We have been using everything that we brought, and I don't think that we are going to be needing to buy anything here. So the most things that I have been putting my money to buy is just food that we eat, like produce food that we need to eat. And it is so sad that things are just the way they are. My household is relatively larger than it was last year, and I have more mouths to feed, so I am forced to buy like two loaves of bread, and I'm spending 400 600 to buy bread that will satisfy the family. Yes, my kids love bread a lot, so they eat a lot of it, but nonetheless it is still like, even the sizes of the bread is not as big as it used to be. So there is a bit of shrink inflation going on as well in Nigeria, if you want to take a very close look at it. Like loaves of bread, the likes of, I'm going back to the 90s, Saba bread used to be very, very big. All the breads that we used to eat when we were kids used to be very, very big, feeling like one family can finish one loaf of bread. But now we are a family of what, let's see, 8 right now, and we are barely two loaves of bread would hardly be enough. And this is excluding the mister and we don't do bread for breakfast. I can't remember the last time I ate bread for breakfast. So yeah, that is one thing we have to be dealing with. The cost of produce, the cost of everything. The cheapest I have seen was going to Orange Market yesterday, my cousin going to the market for me, and things looked relatively cheaper than it was 2 weeks ago. So maybe because we've been going to Wholesome market. In short, when I came to Nigeria, I bought a tuber of yam for 8,000 naira. One tuber of yam. My mom asked me a few days ago what I had for breakfast because she wanted me to eat, and I told her I wasn't hungry. So she was like, what I had for breakfast? I said yam. She was like, I'm still buying yam. If my mom is complaining that I'm still buying yam, so you can imagine how bad it is. So I'm just going to advise that you really think about your stay and you make provision for food. Like if there are things you can bring, even if it's a short stay, if there are things you can bring to sustain you people for breakfast and snacking for your family, for your children, bring it. That's if you have kids. Even as an adult, it will be better for you to just come with your snacks at this point with the rate at which Nigeria is going, because like I said, 100,000 is the new 10,000 naira. You can use 100,000 naira to just buy a few things, and it's going to look like what you used to use 10,000 naira to buy back in the day. The next thing I want to talk about is transportation, and I think this greatly affects the cost of food. Now, how this and the cost of labor and the cost of everything that we need to have a full functioning country is the cost of petrol. So in Nigeria we use petrol, like PMS, that's what it's called. And if you're coming from another part of the world, you are probably going to be calling it gas, or we call it gas in the US. Funny story, when I just moved to the state and gas, like the minister was like, we need to get gas. I was like, you need to get gas for what? It's like, oh, for the car. I was like, oh, does the car use gas? He now said no, but that's how they call it there. So yeah, they call it gas. But anyways, the cost of fuel is something else. I was in Nigeria last year when the president got sworn in, and subsidy went away. So the effect of that meant that the government was no longer going to be supporting or reducing the cost of petrol, because quote unquote, we know that there's corruption in that subsidy thing. There's a lot of scamming in this thing, and the people that are benefiting from it are not Nigerians like you and I, the masses that are benefiting from it. After a month, 2 months, 3 months, people started feeling the impact, and the impact was that power is not stable in Nigeria. Power is not stable, and you're telling people that you cannot give them 24 hours power, and they have to still use their money to buy fuel to power up their generator to be able to carry out their businesses. Not everybody can afford solar. At the end of the day, people have to buy fuel to power up their businesses, for production, for transportation. So imagine a farmer that needs to transport their produce into the city. Now people are buying fuel for 690 naira, and the farther you go into the north, the more expensive it is. But the farther you go into the south, the less pricey fuel is, because in Ibadan we were buying a liter for 500 and something naira, but in Abuja here we are buying a liter for 690 naira if you're buying from non-NNPCL fuel station. And if you go to Kaduna, you see fuel for up to 700. That is how it is. And you can imagine somebody that needs to hire a vehicle, fill up their tanks, and how that still affects is that if you load up a car and you make it really, really heavy, the fuel consumption is going to be high. If you also say that you don't want to load up your car to be too heavy and you want to do multiple trips, that will have to make you do multiple trips, and you're still going to be spending even more or so. So you have to, we are all forced to choose between lesser evils of everything. And it's sad that we have to be dealing with this in these very hard times. I know that the government is working on CNG and, rolling out the first batch of CNG transportation and all that, but at the end of the day, it is not really cutting it for so far so good. We are lucky where I am that we get to see light almost 24 hours, except on rare occasions. We get more than 18 hours of light, non-stop, and just intermittent breaking, like few hours or few minutes in between. That is the only thing. But there are people who go days without light and they still need to power up. And you go to the market and you buy food and you come back home and you are worried about your food going bad because there is a high chance that there won't be light. So how do you really want people to survive? So if you're coming to Nigeria, you have to prepare your mind that if you are not going to be staying in like a choice neighborhood or staying in an Airbnb where even if there is no NEPA light, they probably have solar. If they don't have solar, they have diesel powered generators, then you are going to live a very convenient life. But if you're going to live with family members, I would advise that you kind of adjust, because you won't come and say, oh, because I'm coming from overseas, then you have to provide light for me, because where I'm coming from, if you are going to stay with someone, be ready to add to the comfort that you provide, or make provisions for the level of comfort that you desire for them to give to you. Otherwise, you have to deal with what you go and meet, and be very kind, because I know some people will go to people's house and they'll have these very high expectations because they are coming from abroad. So that is it for the fuel cost. That it is really, really sad again that as an oil producing nation that we are still struggling. So whatever it is you hear on the news that fuel is expensive, it is true. We are feeling it. For us to fill up a 25 liters, we are spending up to 19,000 naira to fill up a 25 liters jerrycan. Yes, that is how bad it is. So alhamdulillah that there's been light for the most part, and just few times we've had to buy, and few times we've had to depend on the generator. The last thing I want to talk about in that is really affecting Nigeria's current state is security. So in the last 10 years solid, we have been dealing with insecurity in Nigeria, and it is something that actually precedes 10 years ago, but because of the evolution of use of social media and all that, we all have been able to consciously know that the insecurity in Nigeria is terrible, and a lot of it has really affected a lot of these things, growth, infrastructure, cost of things. Like, even if there was no worldwide inflation going on right now, insecurity is variably able to disrupt everything that a country has said, if there is no security, because it is very important that people feel safe in their environment. It is the job of the government to make sure that people are safe. And will I say that the government is doing enough? It has gotten better over the years, and it is like when you're dealing with the kind of insecurity you're dealing with in Nigeria, it is like you take a step backward and these people go and they come out stronger. That is what it has felt, and it automatically makes it look like the government is not doing anything. But I do believe that the government is doing. Is it enough? No. Can they do more? 100% yes. It is hard to deal with foreign elements in your society when your border is so porous and people can come in and out as they want. It is not peculiar to Nigeria. It is the same thing, developed nations are also going through. The likes of US, if you hear every political season, it is border control all the time, year in, year out. When we wanted to come to Nigeria the first time after COVID, everybody was really scared because banditry was on the high. Kidnapping was on the banditry and kidnapping was really on the high, and everybody was scared, and understandably so. So when I came to Nigeria, like right after COVID, I didn't go out. People barely knew I was around. It was really hard for me to even put out content, that I'm in Nigeria. So it would be like I'll be in Nigeria 3 weeks after I've been in Nigeria is when I'll start uploading content. I just try to be very conscious of my environment, be mindful of where I'm going to, not to keep late nights. And I even see people that are coming from abroad walk around with police officers, but I don't feel like I need to, because that one in itself is unnecessary attention. These people attack everybody, the rich, the poor, the able, the disabled, the unable. They don't have a class of people, and that is one thing that I want if you are coming to Nigeria, whether you're relocating or not. But honestly, there is no place that is better than the other. Kidnapping still happens in the southern part of Nigeria. The southeastern part of Nigeria have unknown gunmen that they have to deal with. In the north, we are battling both north central, northwest, northeast banditry, and because of all this banditry, people are unable to go into their farms to produce, and that again is causing the prices of goods to be high unnecessarily. Because if you study basic economics, demand and supply, when demand and supply meet like this, then you are going to see a peak in the price, because it is like that supply is almost limited and there is still competitive demand for the little that is available. But if there was food produce in surplus that you don't even have enough people to buy and to purchase, you'll be forced to drive down the price of your goods so that you can sell to the available, and the available can buy and even buy more. Nigeria is a very rich nation in natural resources, in produce and food and all those things. So we export. So what we are currently producing is both for consumption and for exportation, and we are not even exporting enough because we're not even producing enough, and we cannot drive production up because of insecurity. People are afraid. We have people going to drive people out of their farms, kidnap them, and have to give their farm out in exchange for their own safety, because people want to cohabit with people that should not cohabit with you, want to cohabit with you. These are the top things that I feel like are really defining the state of Nigeria as we are in right now. Will I always ever visit Nigeria? Definitely, when the opportunity presents itself, I'll be more than happy to always come home. But if things continue like this and the cost of things are looking like this, I pray that Allah increases us in wealth and keep us safe to be able to make these trips, make this journey. Sorry about that. But yes, just to conclude, I'll just say that if you're coming to Nigeria, weigh your options. If you're relocating to come back to stay, I would advise that this is not the right time to do so. Sorry about that again. This is not the right time to do so. Honestly, you have to be able to earn as much as you're earning over there and more before you can survive this Nigeria economy. It is really hard, most especially if you look at the standard of life that you have over there and you want to maintain it here. What you are earning there would not sustain your life in Nigeria. That is the honest truth. This is where you bring what you're earning over there and actually come and live paycheck to paycheck, because you have food, you have light, you have security, you have fuel to deal with, and everything the prices of things are just back to back, neck to neck high. This is my honest feeling, and I would love to come back to Nigeria even more frequently, but with the situation of things, I also have to reconsider my options and, you know, be prudent, because it's not making sense anymore that you just come for a couple of days and be spending as much as you spend. I mean, if I want to come, I'll come, but it is not easy. I pray it gets better. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this little chit chat today. Please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and see you in my next video. Bye and stay blessed.